So Jerry had made this video and he said all these guys had these issues from Synthol, but he seemed to have got away with it for now. Hey, what's up guys? As many of you know, Jerry Ward passed away. Who was Jerry Ward, you may ask? You probably know, if you're into fitness and bodybuilding. He was a YouTuber, a bodybuilder, just a little bit of a fitness celebrity in a way. He had been making YouTube videos for 10 years or so. I never used to watch his stuff, honestly, because I just personally was never really into the whole 5% movement, so to speak. Nothing wrong with it. Literally, I have nothing wrong with it. It just wasn't my thing. About 2 months ago, I started watching, I should say listening, because Camilla and I would listen to the videos while we played Fortnite. And I would listen to Jerry's videos, and I realized that he and I had a lot of similarities as far as how we thought about things. I enjoyed his videos. So hearing that he died yesterday at age 46, I mean, it's not great, is it? Rest in peace, absolutely. I mean, it's always sad when somebody dies, especially when they die so young. Now, there's a lot of panic, just in general, I think. What is killing people? What is this big issue? Is it the steroids? Is it the recreational drugs some of these guys use? Is it the virus? It's hard to know, right? But what we do know is Jerry, for instance, did have the virus a few months ago, I believe. I would have to look at his exact YouTube video because he made videos about it, and he seemed to have a hard time to recover from it as well. Then he went to the Master Nationals where he was doing judging, I believe, and commentating. So he was on his feet, super busy for several days in a row. That takes a toll. That takes an acute toll on the body. And what a lot of people don't realize is sometimes that's all it takes, is one time pushing your body too much, not listening to it, not getting checked out, because he was complaining of rib pain the day before he passed, which would be a sign of something obviously going wrong with your heart. What I will say also is I watched a video from his channel a few days ago where he talked about Synthol, right? Synthol, I've never really seen the appeal of it myself, but a lot of guys got really into it, and a lot of the heavier users seem to come down with issues. I mean, Boston Lloyd had kidney failure, and he used quite a bit of Synthol. And Jerry admittedly had put Synthol in every part of his body, including one horrendous story about injecting his abs, sticking the needle in too far into his abdominal wall, and being worried that he had basically poked an organ. But what we see with this, it's not even a drug. There's no drug element in it. It's just this oil compound that supposedly would go into the muscle. It would stretch the fascia and then dissipate. Your body would build more muscle cells. It would fill up the space from where the oil was, and the end result would be you'd have bigger muscle. In practice, it didn't seem to work out like that for anybody. You have guys like Milos. I'm a big fan of Milos, always have been. He will openly say he ruined his physique, his arms, by putting Synthol in there. He also had, I'm not sure if it was a heart attack, but he had some cardiac event acutely after getting a shot of Synthol that went into his bloodstream. That's not great. So Jerry had made this video and he said all these guys had these issues from Synthol, but he seemed to have got away with it for now. That was the part that was a little bit disconcerting for sure, because fast forward just a few weeks and here we are, he has passed away. what I would say, guys, it's so hard to know when you're going to go or if you're doing everything right. But if you stay on top of your health, which you seem to do, that's awesome, right? Do your tests, CT score, monitor your blood pressure, all the common sense things. Eat well. That's a big one. And it's something that a lot of people seem to miss, right? Eating well doesn't necessarily mean eat chicken, broccoli, and rice. That's not gonna keep you healthy. Eating well means eat a healthy diet. Don't eat a load of junk. People underestimate how much damage eating junk really does to the body long term. Then, if you're gonna use drugs, I mean, there's always gonna be a risk. But the risk is going to be a lot lower if you're using bioidentical hormones, or let's say a primobolan, a deca, an anavar. These are drugs that have been created by refining the testosterone molecule to have less androgenic side effects. So in a way, should be safer, right? In practice, it seems to affect the lipids a little more negatively than testosterone, but overall, it's, you know, a safer choice. Now these Frankensteroids, the Trenbolones, even the Equipoise, these drugs that, if they were used for humans, it was for a very short period of time. Like Trenbolone was used in France. Doctors gave it to, boys that were bullied to boost their confidence. Obviously, they didn't do that for very long because they realized how bad that is. And after that, it's basically been discontinued. So don't make the assumption that if you take steroids, you take steroids. End of story. It's like people who take recreational drugs. Ephedrine, it's a central system stimulant, right? So is caffeine, so is methamphetamine. Chemically, they are fairly similar. The effects on the body are not so similar, are they? You have plenty of people who drink caffeine every day. People who take ephedrine several times a day for months when achieving their fat loss goals. But something stronger, a methamphetamine for instance, yeah, you're going to run into issues pretty quickly with that. And I think the same can be said with a lot of these steroids. So just something to think about. Be smart. You will be surprised how much muscle you can hold on what we call sports HRT, which is honestly a little higher than your body would naturally produce. But at the same time, you are not hitting your body and your brain with this roller coaster of extreme amounts of androgens followed by these huge drop-offs. That's not good for you either. Literally, high-dose steroids have been shown to kill brain cells and cause all kinds of issues, which can be avoided with more sensible use. Am I saying it's risk-free? Like I said earlier, nothing is risk-free, ever. But it's going to be a lot less risky. So if you are sitting there and you are concerned, because I've had a few people message me on social media, Instagram, saying, I'm Jerry's age, I'm like really scared. I understand. But at the same time, keep in mind, let's say my own father, he died when he was 47. He had a blockage, ended up dying in the living room. Very sad. It was avoidable had he got his checkups, which he didn't do. And keep in mind, this was about 26 years ago. So technology has come a long way since then. But don't think you are destined to die. Because as soon as you start thinking like that, that's when the negative stuff really starts happening. Where the brain goes, the body does follow. We know this from bodybuilding. So if you are getting all freaked out about your lifestyle, that's not going to help. What you need to do, refine your lifestyle, make sure that you are doing everything as safe as you possibly can, and then still live your life. Don't try and downsize 50 pounds overnight because you think that's going to make you healthier. That's not going to make you healthier. That's a huge strain on the body also. But at the same time, if you're currently taking a huge stack of lots of different steroids, you can still be a bodybuilder and take your sports HRT. Are you competing in the Mr. Olympia? No? Well, if you're not doing that and you're not making your money purely by how you're looking, trust me, you are not going to lose that much size. You'll lose volume, sure. Volume in the muscle will go down. but you'll be healthier, you'll look better overall. I mean, just be sensible. And when it comes to things like Synthol, like Milos said himself after he had his issues with it, don't take shortcuts, especially when the shortcut ends up shooting you in the foot down the road. So I'll miss watching Jerry's videos. I really started to enjoy watching them on a daily basis. Like I said, I agreed with most of what he said, and I found him funny. Camilla found him funny too. The way he would say "what the fuck" about everything, and it would make sense. That was the funny thing. He could mean it in 10 different ways, and it would still make sense. And he was obviously a very liked human and knowledgeable. I mean, it's a shame.